Imagine crash landing on an alien planet, only to find yourself surrounded by an endless ocean filled with strange and dangerous creatures. Now picture surviving in that ocean, trying to piece together what happened and how to get back home. That's Subnautica. Now imagine a similar scenario, but this time you're in a freezing Arctic region, where the cold is just as deadly as the creatures lurking below. That's Subnautica Below Zero. That is Subnautica. That's Subnautica Below Zero. Both games pull you into their mysterious alien worlds, but which one offers the better adventure? Well, let's dive in and find out. Let's start with the original Subnautica. It was released in 2014 as early access and then fully released in 2018. This game takes place on planet 4546b after your spaceship, the Aurora, crashes and you get hit in the face by a piece of loose panel. The player then wakes up to see the sea for miles around. No dry land, just an ocean and your crashed spaceship. Diving under the water though, you'll discover many biomes, pieces of your ship, ores, and new species. The goal of this game is to rid yourself of the Corabacterium, disable a big gun, free a big thing, and then build a big rocket. Oh, shit. Give me a second. As I was saying, build a big rocket and fly away. Now Subnautica Below Zero, which dropped in 2021, is a standalone expansion set on the same planet but in a different region. In fact, it's just the way other side. This time you have more land to explore, but also freezing temperatures to deal with. The character you play as in Subnautica Below Zero is Robin, a scientist on a quest to find out what happened to her sister. The cold is just an extra challenge, but the story is more structured compared to the original. I would say Below Zero has a better story, but this game kinda holds your hand. An alien by the name of Alan distributes his consciousness into your body and he aids you along the way, but also, everything in this game feels more linear. The original game kinda just dumps you into the abyss and says, have fun, we'll radio you every now and again, but the rest is up to you. I love both interpretations of this, but for story's sake, I'm gonna have to give it to Below Zero. Map and exploration. Subnautica's map is huge and almost entirely underwater, minus 2 dry land sections, which really pushes you to explore the ocean's depths straight from the drop pod. The biomes are mostly large enough for you to swim by and miss something. That and each upgrade to your gear and vehicles feels like an uphill battle. I always say 1 step forward in Subnautica is 10 steps back. Below Zero, on the other hand, has a lot more land to explore, and while the icy landscapes and frozen caves are interesting, they can take away from what made the original game unique. Subnautica's strength lies in its ocean, and Below Zero's split between land and sea can feel a bit off. Managing your body temperature is a cool addition, see what I did there, but it can also pull you out of the underwater adventure. Also, the biomes in Below Zero just feel way more smaller than the original, but the game is brighter with more luminescence and lighting, and each biome is really beautiful, in both games honestly. On the other hand, OG Subnautica has darker, larger biomes that feel more scarier to tread. Below Zero biomes are Candyland and Subnautica biomes are Hellraiser 2. This round, for the map and exploration, I'm going to have to give the point to Subnautica. Difficulty and gameplay mechanics. Both games require scanning and crafting equipment, vehicles, alien lore, big fish monsters, and underwater exploration, but they are different in a lot of ways. Subnautica is known for its difficulty and cryptic gameplay. Like I said, this game doesn't hold your hand. You have to figure things out as you go. This makes every discovery feel rewarding. 1 step forward, 10 steps back. Below Zero feels easier and more straightforward. The game guides you more, which can take away from some of the excitement of exploration. The crafting system in Below Zero is also simplified. Recipes are easier and you can pin them to the screen, making things more convenient, but also easier. In the original Subnautica, you had to memorize recipes or check your PDA. However, thanks to updates, you can now do pinning in both. But by the time recipe pinning was added in Subnautica, I had already played through it multiple times. In Below Zero, 5 pieces of titanium make an ingot, whereas in the original, it took 10. Just for an example, this change cuts the work in half, making resource gathering less of a grind. Within 20 minutes of loading up Below Zero for the first time, I had the Sea Glide and the Sea Truck fragments already scanned and was able to just gather equipment immediately. But as for the OG Subnautica, when I first played, I didn't get the sea moth until maybe the 3rd day of playing. I mean, I could quickly get it now, but back then I had no idea what to expect from the game. That experience and knowledge probably aided me in Below Zero because I already knew the game mechanics going in, as it didn't really change, which is one thing I have to say that's really good. It's kind of like the Tony Hawk games, how they didn't really switch the controls on you and it was pretty much the same thing, albeit adding just a few more things, if that makes sense. So for this round, I'm honestly gonna say it's a tie. Vehicles and mobility. The vehicles in each game are highlights. but there's some differences. Below Zero's Sea Truck is versatile. You can add different modules, turning it into a mobile base. But honestly, I never felt the need to do that. Once you have the Sea Truck with some depth modules, you're set. In Subnautica, you had the Sea Moth, which is great, but you also needed the Cyclops for deeper exploration. The Cyclops is a huge submarine that's slow, clunky, and slog. It's a hassle, and I don't like hassles, but you need it to progress. The Sea Truck in Below Zero is more convenient, but it makes the game easier because you don't have to juggle multiple vehicles. Then there's the Prawn Suit, which is in both games. In the games, it's essential for deep exploration and mining rare resources, and albeit in clusters, and then zip lining around and grappling gun. It's fun. In Below Zero though, I found myself using the Prawn Suit a lot less than I did in OG Subnautica. I mean, I'll be honest with you though, the first time I beat Subnautica, I took the Cyclops down to the Ghost Tree spot, you know the place, and got in my Prawn Suit and beat the game from there. Below Zero offers another vehicle known as the Snow Fox. It helps a ton with, well, I guess getting around the land sections quicker, but some areas really suck with this thing. In fact, this thing kinda just sucks in general. It has an upgrade to avoid giant creatures called ice worms, who live in the ice and are giant worms. No shit, right? But other than that, it's got a really bad turning radius. It beats the Cyclops though, in my opinion, even though one's water, one's land. F the Cyclops. For this round, I'm giving the point to Below Zero. Base building. Building bases is a big part of both games. In Subnautica, your base isn't just a safe spot, it's a hub for exploration and survival. You have to pick your base location carefully for resource access and safety from predators. As you progress, your base becomes a reflection of your achievements, filled with aquariums, farms for food, and a Markiplier statue. In Below Zero, base building is more streamlined. There are more features, like the large room, which is pretty awesome, and the ability to add walls. However, since the game feels easier, the urgency to build and expand your base isn't as strong. See, I would have given the point to Below Zero just for the better customization, but after the Subnautica 2.0 update, rooms and structures from Below Zero can now be crafted in the OG Subnautica, meaning this round is a tie. Creatures and threats. Let's talk about the creatures, especially the Leviathans. Subnautica has some really terrifying ones. The Ghost Leviathan, the Reaper Leviathan, the Reefback Leviathan, even though he's just a big old friendly guy. The Sea Dragon, the Sea Treader, and the Sea Emperor. Each one is unique and possesses a different threat, some more than others and some not at all. But these creatures add to the sense of danger and mystery as you explore deeper throughout this big-ass ocean planet. Below Zero has its share of Leviathans too, on the same planet, like the giant shrimp, the Chelicerate, the Glow Whale, Vent Garden, and the Shadow Leviathan. The Shadow Leviathan is cool and definitely a threat, but overall, the Leviathans in Below Zero aren't as intimidating or memorable as those in the original. The creature design in Subnautica had a perfect balance of awe and fear, while Below Zero's feels a bit toned down. Minus the Shadow Leviathan, I mean that thing is brilliant, but encounters with these massive creatures in Subnautica were often heart-pounding and unexpected, adding to the thrill. On the other hand, Below Zero had me just like, oh, that thing's cool. So, when it comes to Leviathans and creatures, the point is going to OG Subnautica for this one. And so far it's tied. Tied. Sound design and music. Sound design is crucial in both games, enhancing the immersion in the atmosphere. Subnautica's soundscape is filled with the ambient sounds of the ocean, from the gentle lapping of waves to the eerie clip of Donald Trump saying China. The music is subtle and atmospheric, often ramping up during moments of danger or discovery, each note resonating with a pulsing sense of anxiety. That is, if music is playing anyway, because I found myself exploring a lot of areas with no sound at all. But regardless, the music is creepy, it's alien sounding, and it's also somewhat nostalgic feeling. I don't know how to explain that, it feels like you already know it. It's kind of a creepy sense of comfort. Below Zero also excels in sound design with new environmental sounds like howling winds and crackling ice. Hopefully not crackling ass. The music is more prominent in Below Zero with a soundtrack that reflects the game's more guided and emotional story. Both soundtracks are great, but I think Subnautica's was just a bit better. Round goes to Subnautica. Replayability and community. Replayability is another factor to consider. Subnautica's open-ended nature and challenging gameplay encourage multiple playthroughs. Each time you play, you can try different strategies, explore new areas, and build unique bases. Heck, play the game out of order and try to save the sunbeam before blowing the hell up. With such a cryptic story that you can kind of interpret in your own way, it's easy to come back to this game and start fresh and experience a totally different playing experience. Below Zero, with its more linear story and easier gameplay, might not have the same level of replayability for some players. However, the new features and improved mechanics can still provide a fresh experience. But the community is what builds these games, the love for the games that was shared and distributed. Both games have a dedicated fan base that share tips, stories, videos, drawings, creations, adding to the overall enjoyment. The community is what built Subnautica in the first place, with its passion. But if you ask me, once you beat Below Zero, the story's over. You didn't really miss much if you beat it. Sure, you can go back and listen to PDA files and shit, but I think OG Subnautica has the better replayability. So the round goes to Subnautica, leaving the score 6-4. Subnautica wins. But wait, what about the graphics? I mean, they're pretty close, but Below Zero has better graphics for sure. Graphics don't make a game though, the gameplay makes the game, and the graphics are cool, but whatever, you know. Below Zero has a better graphics. Okay, the score is now 6-5. But wait, what about the characters? Well, I guess Below Zero had actual NPCs, so guess the score is 6-6. But that leaves a tie. Okay, hold on. Let me think of a tiebreaker. Okay, with the tie, let's bring it down to one factor left. The cuttlefish or the tri-valve? Yeah, Subnautica wins 7-6. In the end, both Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero have their own strengths and weaknesses, appealing to different types of players. Subnautica offers a tougher, more mysterious survival experience, and on the other hand, Below Zero brings better graphics, a more structured narrative, and some innovative features like the sea truck and temperature mechanics. Ultimately, it all boils down to your personal preference. If you're up for a challenging and exploratory survival adventure, Subnautica is the way to go. If you prefer a more guided experience with enhanced visuals and personal storyline, then Below Zero might be your pick. Both games are ranked very high in my personal opinions, but I'm curious as what you think about this. Do you prefer Subnautica OG or Subnautica BZ? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe or I'll send a Reaper Leviathan to your house. Until next time, my friends.
Oh yeah, and -1 point for pop-in.